If I were you, I wouldn't leave the United States because you never know when you'll be allowed to come back into the country. I don't want to scare you, but I kind of have to. Lately, it seems like the president can do anything with the stroke of a pen. Things aren't how they used to be. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the president's proclamation that has suspended the entry of non-immigrants and immigrants into the United States due to COVID-19. Make sure you watch this full video to find out all of the information regarding the COVID-19 travel ban. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, my name is Stephanie D'Angelo. I'm the founder of D'Angelo Law PLC. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can join the D'Angelo Law family as well. On March 13th, the president declared a national emergency, recognizing that COVID-19 poses a threat to our nation's healthcare system. In response, he has suspended and limited the entry of aliens recently present in certain foreign jurisdictions. Now, the recognized jurisdictions are ones that have had significant outbreaks of COVID-19. Those jurisdictions include the People's Republic of China, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the United Kingdom, the Republic of Ireland, and the Schengen area. Those countries are Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. On May 24th, the president issued a proclamation that extended that suspension to apply to Brazil as well. The World Health Organization reported that Brazil had over 310,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. That is the third highest number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the world. Let's get into the details of the proclamation so you can know exactly who it applies to and for how long. If you are attempting to enter the United States, and you were physically present in any of those countries within the 14 days prior to your attempt to enter the United States. So if within the last 2 weeks, the last 14 days, you were physically present in any of those countries, you cannot enter the United States. You will be prohibited from entering. If you are outside of the United States currently in one of those countries, you are not able to enter the United States at this time. If you have departed one of those countries to another country that is not on that list and you remain there for more than 14 days, then you would be able to enter the United States. But you can't directly enter the United States from any of those countries that I just mentioned due to the suspension. If you're here in the United States and you're thinking about traveling during the summer, well, first, I recommend you don't travel. You stay in the United States because you don't know if while you're outside, the president adds to the suspension and includes more countries, which could include the country that you have just visited. So it's best to stay put in the United States for now. However, if you do leave, make sure it's to a country that is not on this list. So if you're in the United States, just stay put. Let this pass. If you're outside of the United States, you would have to travel to a different country, wait there for 2 weeks, and then come in so long as the country you're traveling from is not part of this suspension. Let's talk about who is exempt from this suspension. Lawful permanent residents of the United States. So if you're a green card holder, then it doesn't apply to you. You are not a permanent resident if you went to the embassy, got your immigrant visa stamp, and now you're waiting to enter the country for the first time. No, you are not a permanent resident yet. You must have already entered the United States with your I-551 stamp in order to be recognized as a lawful permanent resident. Next, anyone who is married to a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. So if you are the spouse of a lawful permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, then this suspension does not apply to you. Next, anyone who is a parent of a lawful permanent resident or a United States citizen, so long as the child is unmarried and under the age of 21. Additionally, if you are a sibling of a lawful permanent resident or a United States citizen, so long as both yourself and your sibling are unmarried and under the age of 21. Next, any alien who is the child, foster child, or ward of a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident, or who is a prospective adoptee seeking to enter the United States pursuant to the IR4 or IH4 visa classification. Also, any alien who is traveling at the invitation of the United States government for a purpose related to containment or mitigation of the virus. Also, any alien who is traveling as a non-immigrant pursuant to a C1D or C1/D non-immigrant visa as a crew member, or any other alien otherwise traveling to the United States as air or sea crew. There are a little bit more exemptions. We'll quickly get through them and then move on. Anyone who is A1, A2, C2, C3, E1, G1, G2, G3, G4, NATO 1 through NATO 4 or NATO 6, or any of the ones in the NATO categories, or anyone whose travel falls within the scope of Section 11 of the United Nations Headquarters Agreement, anyone who's a member of the U.S. Armed Forces, or is a spouse or child of a member of the U.S. Armed Force, then you're not prohibited from entering. They also add in a catch-all here, which is any alien whose entry would not pose a significant risk of introducing, transmitting, or spreading the virus as determined by the Secretary of Health and Human Services through CDC director or his designee. So that's kind of like a catch-all, because the whole purpose of this suspension is to limit the risk of transmitting the virus. So if the Secretary of Health and Human Services has determined that your entry would not pose such a risk, then they would let you in. So that's kind of a catch-all discretionary issue there. Another one is any alien who would further important U.S. law enforcement objectives as determined by the Secretary of State. And finally, anyone who would be in the national interest. So I don't know if you remember, with Trump's original proclamation for the 60-day ban for all immigrants entering the United States, there was an exception for those in the national interest, those with national interest waivers. Here is another exception here in this proclamation. So obviously we like those that are in the national interest. Hint, 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 clients of mine, national interest waivers are good. Okay, so those are the ones that are not subject to the suspension of entry due to COVID-19. Now, it sounded like there were a lot of exemptions, but in reality, there's a lot of people that don't fall into those categories. So if you're here on a visitor's visa, if you're here on an O1, if you're here on an L1, if you're outside and you even received your visa stamp, your green card stamp, but you don't fall into the category as a spouse or a child, then you wouldn't be able to come in. Let's say you have an approved EB1 and you already received your immigrant visa stamp and you were just waiting to come in, then unfortunately you are subject to this if you're physically present in one of those countries I mentioned. However, EB2, as I mentioned, national interest waivers, you are exempt from this suspension prohibiting your entry into the United States. Now remember, all of this can change at any time. Stay put if you're here, because while you're outside, you don't know if he's going to expand the scope of the suspension any further. So you won't even be able to get on the plane to come here. It's not like you're going to be stopped at the port of entry. Yes, I mean, if you manage to get on, then you'll be stopped at the port of entry, but this is to make sure that you don't even get on the plane to get here. The proclamation further states that any alien that circumvents the application of this proclamation through fraud, willful misrepresentation of a material fact, or illegal entry shall be a priority for removal by the Department of Homeland Security. You're probably wondering, when will this suspension end? Well, we don't know. The proclamation states that it will remain in effect until terminated by the president. This proclamation went into effect at 11:59 p.m. on May 28th. So currently it's already in effect. So what if you are subject to this proclamation and you have a visa stamp to enter the United States, but it's going to expire, or it has expired due to the travel ban? For example, if you obtained a K1 visa stamp before the COVID-19 pandemic, and due to everything going on, you were unable to enter the United States for the first time, and your K1, since it was valid, the actual visa stamp was valid for 3 months, it had already expired, or it's going to expire soon, and you're subject to this proclamation, you're unable to enter the United States, what do? Well, as you know, you absolutely cannot enter the United States with an expired visa. Once the consular posts and the embassies open back up for visa services, you have to contact your respective consular post and ask them to issue you a new visa stamp. Obviously, they know what's going on. They'll know that your K1 stamp expired because of your inability to travel to the United States. So once they start issuing visa services, you should contact them and ask them whether it is to schedule a new appointment, to get a visa stamp again. Whatever the procedures are with that respective embassy or consular post, make sure you follow up with them specifically to find out what you have to do. All the embassies, all the consular posts are not opening on the exact same day. Some have already started rescheduling appointments. Some won't be open for another several months. So you are responsible to monitor the information for your respective consular posts in your country to find out when they will reopen again, whether you need to reschedule it, whether they'll automatically reschedule for you, whether you can get a new visa stamp, so on and so forth. I hope this video was helpful to you. I really wanted to bring this to your attention because with everything going on, not many people actually know that there's an official proclamation in place that has stopped the entry of certain immigrants and non-immigrants into the United States. I also wanted to suggest that if you're already in the United States and you are wanting to travel internationally, you are putting at risk your re-entry into the United States. So definitely be careful with that. If this video was helpful and informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Please share and comment as well. That way YouTube knows to share this video with everyone else on the platform so they can be informed as well. Make sure you're subscribed with your post notifications turned on. That way you can be notified the next time I upload a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.